Hello, CQ, 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 calling CQ the Old Friends Net. This is WA4LLR, Dave in Burnsville, North Carolina, calling CQ the Old Friends Net. This net meets 3 times weekly on this frequency, Tuesdays and Thursday mornings at 8 a.m., Sunday evenings at 4 p.m., and we carry on in the AM mode in the roundtable format. We cater mainly to vintage equipment, but anyone that can produce an AM signal is certainly welcome to participate. So CQ the Old Friends Net. Stations wishing to check in, give me a call and come now.
LQ.
WB4NKL. W4MEC.
Well, this may be a mighty short net. I've heard N4LQ, WB4NKL, and W4MEC. Do we have anyone else? Well, I think that's the smallest number in history. Anyway, N4LQ, WB4NKL, and W4MEC. We'll go ahead and start and see what happens. Good morning to everybody. We've got about looks like about 36 degrees, partly cloudy, and I think it's supposed to get up in the 60s today, maybe some rain tonight. I think that's what the weather guessers are saying. Anyhow, running the Babcock MT5B, some help from the SB220, receiving on the RME 69. So, let's go down to Shelby, and we'll toss it around a little bit. N4LQ, WA4LLR.
Down to Shelby, WA4LLR, N4LQ, Crystal Control this morning on the TX-86 Ameco, and listening on the 2A Drake, and on the horizontal loop antenna. I don't know, maybe ice caught everybody and sent them back over the border. I don't know. I saw, speaking of which, I saw that Monday Charlotte schools had 21,000 absentees, and they're not really sure why. Anyway, good morning to the 4 of us, and hopefully some more people join here pretty soon. So, Cliff, how's things over in Tennessee? WB4NKL, N4LQ.
N4LQ, WB4NKL. Going pretty good over here. I've got 34 degrees, and it's warmed up a couple degrees. At 32 when I got up. Looks like it's going on up to 68 today, and warm the rest of the week. Looks like, during the day. Supposed to get some workers back. I thought I heard them a while ago, but it was a flock of turkeys that come through the driveway, set off the alarm. So they haven't got here yet. So hopefully they'll show up and get this house job, wound up this week. I've got a lot of QRN from the storms. I think somebody said they was out toward Missouri, but they're pretty powerful. A lot of QRN going on. I ended up contacted the Hamlin, and I didn't talk to the guys at the factory. I talked to the other guy, the KE4 MH on 40 meters there yesterday. So I guess I'll send off and get the commemorative card. Go ahead, Charlie. W4MEC. It's WB4NKL.
Okay, Cliff. WB4NKL and the group. W4MEC, real good. Good morning, three fellas there, Dave and Steve and Cliff. I don't know, it's around 33, 34 degrees over here. Skies look clear, at least when I was putting the bird feeders out, they did. And let's see, I was successful apparently in fixing that washing machine. It was a weird machine. It's the kind that didn't have an agitator in the middle. It had a disc at the bottom. I don't really know how it works. I mean, I guess the drum spins one way and the disc the other. Anyway, the bolt came loose and the disc was not there. So all I could do was, I didn't have any Loctite, so I tightened it down as tight as I could. So she hadn't called back, so maybe it's holding. And yesterday, my wife and her close friend that she's known since forever, we all went out to the Biltmore house and spent a pretty good bit of time out there. The crowds weren't too bad. I mean, it's been awful, but my wife said it was light. I thought it was quite a few people, and I saw Asheville was in its true form at the Biltmore house. I saw the weirdest combinations of humans that pair off in today's weird world than ever, and including one man that was thinking that he was, not a man, and it was obvious he was, and good grief, I said, if I had a pistol in my pocket, I'd hand it to him. I'd say, put yourself out of your misery. God almighty, he was, I don't know how to describe it. Can't take a picture of him, but just that's just the way it is in Asheville. Really bizarro, so. And that was a small crowd. I bet you on a big crowd, it's even weirder. But anyway, gladly they all spread out as they go through the building there, and you don't have to see them, but you run into them. And we got our lunch at the Stable Cafe, and the friend bought the lunch, so that was good. And they make a pretty good hamburger. It's a little pricey, but it's a pretty good hamburger anyway. So that was the excitement yesterday. Didn't make the net last night. Got sidetracked as usual, so we'll see. Back to you, Dave. W4MEC.
Okay, Charlie. Well, do we have any other participants that would like to join? Come now. Okay. WA4LLR. I don't know where everybody's at today. Oh, mercy. Anyway, let's see here. Let's see. I worked the boys at the plant. They were trying to get me to come by and spend some time with them and maybe operate a little, but had a pretty full day yesterday. And Emerald and Don was supposed to go over and operate, and he ended up in the emergency room. He kind of got choked on something that he was eating. I can't remember, and really had a bad time, and ended up there. They kind of got him straightened out a little bit, I think, and he's back home. So he didn't get to go. But they seem to be doing pretty good contact-wise. Let's see, good deal on getting the washing machine repaired, Charlie. And the trip to the Biltmore house. It's been a lot of years since I've been. I enjoyed it, but that's not something I do on a regular repeating basis. I've seen those bumper stickers, you probably have too, that says keep Asheville weird. Well, I don't think there's any need to ask for help in that area. They seem to have it well under control. But yeah, just visit downtown anytime, and if you want an eye-opening experience, just stroll around Pack Square or down towards Tupelo, Honey, and in that area where they have the drum circle and so on and so forth, and it's an enlightening process. I don't try to do very often. No, I try to not go to Asheville, and the only reason I go typically is for a doctor's appointment. And I really wish they would get that hospital built in Weaverville that they keep trying to do, and Mission keeps trying to block. I hope that comes to fruition, but if they do, I don't know if it'll be in my lifetime, but we'll see. Anyway, what else is going on? Not too much. Just tried to cycle through some gear here to keep it from getting an attitude. So, Steve, back down to you. I've noticed that in the city of Pleasant Living, in the years that I've been coming down there, I've not seen too much weirdness, which is good. Some things you don't need to tamper with. N4LQ, WA4LLR.
WA4LLR, N4LQ. Well, I don't know what attracts all that. I know colleges tend to provoke some of that weirdness, so any college town is subject to being a little different. But Shelby, of course, is college free, except for the extension down here, whatever, Cleveland County, I'm not sure what this thing's called, but it's a pretty nice place, I guess, and most of the kids that go there are local, not loco, but local. Anyway, let's see, I'm looking down the list here, and I have never been to Biltmore, and I never really had any urge to go there. I don't really know what the attraction is. I guess it's a big house that somebody built, more of it. And I'm not sure what a drum circle is. So don't think I want to. I'm sorry to hear about Don getting choked. That's bad. I'm gonna have to, I haven't heard him on here for quite a while, so maybe we can get him back on. We need some company. 160 last night. We had one N4QR as usual checked in. Sometimes he misses. And then the guy in Tennessee, K4EBW, that he's been checking in every now and then to join us. But that's it. Nobody else showed up. So I don't know if it's a widespread ham radio problem or what it is. I looked on Reverse Beacon yesterday and I saw W4R Hammerlin. In the morning I missed it, and that was it. And they were going like, according to that, it was 12 words a minute, but I didn't hear anything. And I don't know how you found them unless you use that spotting facility or whatever. I just now checked the Reverse Beacon, and it is down. It's the first time I've ever seen it down. Internal server error, it says, and that's a new one on me. I have never seen this happen. It's kind of sad. And Cliff, okay on the flock of turkeys and all that. Dave, your Babcock sounds beautiful this morning. And Charlie, I guess assume you're on the Apache, since I don't hear the whine of the dynamotor. And the Apache is nice and quiet. Sounds good. Cliff, I'm not sure what you're on. Globe's King or something, I guess. Good and strong. Anyway, let's see. Temperature here is 37, and I think it's going to be up in the high 60s today. I'm taking the XYL over to her pulmonologist this morning at 10 o'clock. So that's a fun day. scheduled, and then we have to go to Taco Bell because it's Tuesday. Let's see, over to Cliff, WB4NKL, N4LQ.
N4LQ is WB4NKL. Okay, Steve. Yeah, I'm on the Globe King 500 this morning. Band's in good shape except for the static, so I don't know where everybody's at. I meant to get on 160 there last night, and my sister, she's down in Florida, she'd called, and we got a cousin that's in the hospital, and she was telling me about him, and so I looked up, and it was about 8:30, so I decided not to come out here after I got through talking to her. Let's see, Biltmore, we did that last year. There was some kind of a glass artist, I can't remember the name now, but it's a famous glass artist, had a lot of his stuff displayed there in that museum type thing. And we went and seen that and toured Biltmore, and I was sticker shocked. I forget what it cost, but it was it'd been about 30 years since we'd been there, and it was pretty pricey compared to 30 years ago. But yeah, that Biltmore's worth it. I guess it's expensive, but it's worth seeing one time, Steve, if you get the chance to get up there. I don't know when the off season is now. I think we went in December that time, and it was still pretty crowded, and pretty good people show like Charlie's talking about. I think that ice will spilling over into some of the other areas. I know we got Johnson City's got some weird stuff going on. That's a college town too. That might have something to do with it. But I don't know. I guess just getting to be old timers. I was in the grocery store the other day, and the lady was checking me out, and she seemed normal. And then she started talking about her wife. So, you know, more of the information. I don't, I'm not kicking her down or anything, but it's something I don't need to know about. I just, us old timers don't need to hear that stuff. Go ahead, Charlie, W4MEC, WB4NKL.
Cliff, W4NKL on the group, W4MEC, yeah. Well, I tell you, it is expensive, and the Biltmore House is, and a lot of things that places you could go, you can't now. They've sectioned them into tours that cost you extra. So I remember when we first went there, you could go all the way to the top of the house and stuff like that, and you could go more into a room, but not now, and everything's back, and you know, it's just people is what drives the destruction of the place. So a lot of the walls within arm's reach, there's plexiglass. You can't touch the walls, especially some of that stuff that's the fancy wallpaper and all that, which makes sense, of course. But yeah, the couple of things you got to pay extra for. But you know, like the behind-the-scenes tour, like in the power plant in the basement and all that, they wouldn't even let you go down there before. But now you can take a tour. And if you take the rooftop tour, I took that with my oldest son years ago, and you get up there in places that no one ever gets to go, and go up on the roof and go up in the attic. It's amazing. The attic in that place is, good grief. I mean, you talk about construction. They got steel. You know, your roof rafters are steel and all that. You know, and of course there's cladding on them holding the roof part up. But what got me though was the gargoyles, and there were some pretty sick people out there. I say sick. They got some gargoyles along the roof that you don't normally see. I mean, they're made out of concrete, but they're very attractive women, overly amply endowed. So I don't know what was going on back then, but those guys were basically making penthouse models out of concrete and sticking them on the roof of the building. So they got some nasty looking ones too. You know, evil. You know, what do you call them? Dragons and stuff like that. Things that look like monkeys and Wizard of Oz. But some of those others, boy, I tell you, they should have put X-rated on this thing, or at least R-rated. But it's once you go through and you pay the big bucks to get in there, especially now, they offer you a lifetime membership or an annual pass, and that's what me and my wife do because it's dirt cheap. Then I think the annual pass is like the cost of one trip to the house at a normal price. So we've been doing that for years. And when my sister-in-law was living here, my wife and sister-in-law used to go there on the grounds to eat lunch and to do stuff like that. And you can go there and take a bicycle, and they got tons of bike paths and back through there, and it's kind of a beautiful place, to be honest with you. So, and it's the Gilded Age is when the guy built that place, and he died at 51, I think, of infection after an appendicitis. So, but the family still lives on the grounds there, and I'm not sure if they live in the house or not, but I think someone said there was a place in there, but I don't remember. And what was the other thing? FAA has a facility on the property. It used to be back by the cow barns, and there was a set of hothouses for plants and all that. And they tore all that down, and they turned that area, and they started selling it off for lots. And of course, you don't put a double wide on the Biltmore grounds. They all built mansions on these lots. And at the time, you can still get out there. The FAA guys can still get out there. There's a giant electric gate. There's no guardhouse. There's no nothing. Just this big electric gate out on Highway 280. And you go in there, and there's a low-frequency outer marker and an outer marker out there. So it's still on the air too. I forget what the frequency is. 400 and something kilohertz, but and the call sign is India Mike IM. But it's still on the air, and anyway, it's an interesting place, and the wine they had was basically good for stripping paint. I don't know if it's improved, but it was pretty bad. But anyway, it's quite the facility there and quite the tourist attraction. Back to you, Dave. WA4LR, W4MEC.
All right, Charlie, fine business. Any other check-ins? Come now. Okay, this is WA4LLR. Well, yeah, I watched a documentary on the Biltmore house a few months ago, and the old boy that built it was the black sheep of the family. The rest of the family thought he was an absolute idiot for spending all of that Biltmore or Vanderbilt money to build this Victorian castle and purchase all that land. So he was kind of the outcast because he didn't use the fortune to build more fortune. But interesting story about his life, so on and so forth. Anyway, let's see, Steve, the internal server error for the CW reverse beacon thing is not the only one. There's been several websites I've tried to go to this morning that gives you the same thing. So I'm wondering if we have had a cyber attack or what's going on. I tried to go to one of the space weather apps that I've got on my smartphone, and it gives me that same internal server error, and a couple others do too. Yeah, I can't remember if I was in Ingalls or somewhere. Cliff, you're talking about the person, and I was checking out and said something to this lady, and she said my pronoun preference is Mr. or whatever. And I'm looking at her and I'm thinking, yeah, in your dreams. Anyhow, interesting world that we live in for sure. Well, space weather has calmed down quite a bit from all the flaring and auroras, we've got a sunspot count of only 45. Solar flux index of 122, and the K is 0.67, so the geomagnetic field is pretty quiet. A few things from this day in history. On this day in 1978, the Jonestown Massacre took place as those followers of Jim Jones committed suicide to the amount of about 900 people there in Guyana. Man, that was something else. On this day in 1963, the first push-button touch-tone telephone debuted in the United States. And we began to say goodbye to the old rotary phone. I kind of miss those. On this day in 1959, the film Ben-Hur premiered, won 11 Academy Awards. On this day in 1928, Walt Disney released Steamboat Willie, the first animated film with sound featuring Mickey Mouse. On this day in 1923, Alan B. Shepard, the first U.S. astronaut to travel in space, was born in New Hampshire. And on this day in 1903, the U.S. signed a treaty with Panama to give them a 10-mile strip across the isthmus for the construction of the Panama Canal. So that's pretty much it. So here it comes back down to the Pleasant City and Taco Bell Tuesday, N4LQ WA4LR.
Taco Tuesday. Yeah, this is N4LQ in just outside of Shelby. I'm really not in the city limits. I should stop saying that, but I'm not really unproud of Shelby or anything. I think it's a pretty good town, I guess, as far as towns go. But I'm glad I don't live in the city limits. I'm about a mile out of town. And if I lived in the city limits, my taxes would be just about double, and they're already high as it is. Been hearing a lot about property taxes lately, and it's just gotten out of control. And that thing Charlie, I think Charlie sent that out about Florida, if I recall. There was a video about the property taxes down there, and insurance and property taxes just eating people up that had moved down there to enjoy retirement on a fixed income, which might not be a good idea unless you got a lot of money, because that insurance will eat you up, and HOA fees. And I'm glad I don't have an HOA here. I'll tell you, that's another problem. Well, let's see. Yeah, it's pretty interesting stuff there on the events that happened today, and the Kool-Aid drinkers all decided that they needed to kill themselves by drinking Kool-Aid. Well, I tell you, that's not a very common thing to happen. I remember it well. I think it was in the 90s, wasn't it? And Ben-Hur. You know what I remember most about the Ben-Hur movie was the wheels on the chariot. The bad guy had knives that stuck out, spikes that stuck out, and he would try to come over on Ben-Hur's wheels and hit him and knock out his spoke. He was taking out spokes all over the place. Apparently they didn't have any rules. And anyway, gargoyles on the roof. Yeah, those are creepy. I tell you what, I'm afraid to get around stuff like that. Something may jump off and grab you. Anyway, let's see what else is going on. Anything technical here? I was sitting here. Sometimes I'll get some wild idea and I'll bring up my antenna modeling software, and I was checking this loop antenna. It actually resonates a little bit too high on the band. And doesn't, I guess resonance doesn't really matter because I'm feeding it with open wire line and I can bring it into resonance. But I think it would be a little easier to tune up if it was just a little bit longer. So next time I replace the wire, I may do it. I bought wire. I bought brand new wire for it, and I never have gotten around to putting the thing back up. Or taking it down and putting it back up. I just can't seem to. I guess it's one of those things where if it works, don't fix it. Anyway, let's go ahead and pass it over to Cliff on the Globe King, which is always a commanding signal over there. WB4NKL, N4LQ.
Now N4LQ is WB4NKL. Everybody's got big signals here this morning to hear. Hello, TX Ameco and the Babcock. Charlie, I don't think you're running the ART. I didn't hear the whine this morning, but they sounding good. Rotary phones, I've got one in the basement, Erica phone. It's an old one that Princess, I think it's a Princess phone. It's the dial's in the bottom of it, and when you set it down, the dial is hidden. But that thing's hooked up in the basement, and you can still dial out. They never have turned off the pulse dialing on the local phone company here, so you can still use the phone. I guess there's many of them around, but I guess that's easy to leave turned on in the software, the pulse dialing. So it still operates, which is sort of surprising. And not much here. I'm supposed to have some workers, but they still haven't showed up. I guess it's kind of chilly. Maybe looks like it's still hanging on about 34. Maybe they're waiting for it to warm up. But they did promise that they would be here today, so looking for them. I'll hang around for one more if we have one more. W4MEC, WB4NKL.
Yeah, WB4NKL and the old friends W4MEC. Real good. Yeah. That sure is a puzzle. Why no one's here today, unless they had a collective. We're starting at 9 o'clock. So, but anyway, it's okay. Let's see, what else we got here? What can anything else to add about Bill Warren? He owned over 100,000 acres, and if you were standing on his, I guess the northwest corner of the house on the back, they have a big balcony there, of course a lot of windows look out. He owned all the way to Mount Pisgah. And the reason he wanted all that land was he didn't want it to be bothered by any construction or anything. He just wanted it all pristine land. And that's a lot of land owned from there to Mount Pisgah. So, right now it's pretty much pristine. There is one mountain that they're raping over there. They're cutting roads in it and cutting trees down and building houses on it, and you can see it pretty clear from the patio, or what do you call it, balcony. But they're working on that one, and but Pisgah's still there. Antenna's still. I thought they were supposed to take that antenna down off the top of Mount Pisgah, but it's still there. And I think I heard somewhere that what they wanted to do was basically cut the guy cables and let it drop, but the environmentalists said, no, you're going to hurt too much flora and fauna. So take that thing down, I don't know. That old of a tower, I guess you can do it, but I'd think get one of those that sky crane, that big helicopter that can pick up a tank or something, and maybe take that thing down in vertical sections, not any other way. Gin poles, nah. But I think those were built in individual pieces of metal. I know all of our microwave towers were nothing but angle iron and had big bolts, So just a giant erector set is basically what it was. But when they dropped those, they just cut the guy wires and let them hit the ground and cut them up with a torch and haul them to get made into something, tin cans or something. So, but anyway, yep, I guess he was the black sheep of the family there, and but he treated the people well, and he was a good guy to work with and work for, and gave a lot of people jobs, and created a lot of things like the cradle of forestry. Basically he was responsible for how to forest properly by replanting trees and all that stuff, and he was a big kind of a environmentalist, to be honest with you, one of the early ones. So he brought a lot of good ideas and things to the world, but so I guess in the long run that was good of him to do what he did. So but he liked the castle, that's for sure. So all right, what else we got here? I guess I missed the thing on the special event station there, so that's okay. I usually miss all of those special events. And I noticed someone mentioned about server error. I just looked at a bunch of my stuff, and it's all, when I open the link, it says server error, and I think every single one of them said server error. And I wanted to read the one that says North Carolina arrests 81 illegals on the first day of operation, and it came out server error. So, and a couple of others that were looking interesting, but I don't know what it is. It's like there's a lot of things on QTH.com, and they've got a big internet, email service that you can sign up to for like $10 a year for their email, and you get like 10 addresses. Who needs 10? But there's a lot of other groups like MilSerp. Is on QTH.com. AM Phone is on QTH.com. There's a lot of ham radio related things that use their domain, I guess is the right word, and I'm sure it's something like that. Some big domain system has gone belly up, or the lines to it, and they'll figure it out, and everything will come back at once. But the modern world, I guess. So let's see. Back to you, Dave. WA4LLR in the group W4BC.
All right, fine business. Well, one more futile attempt. Any late check-ins come now? Okay. Well, interesting for sure. Well, I think we'll call this a 73 round or something, and I think I'm getting ready to head off, look for a little bit of breakfast this morning. But I've enjoyed it, even though we had a probably record light turnout today. I don't know, maybe this is sleep-in Tuesday, or maybe everybody went out to breakfast. I don't know. Anyhow, we'll go ahead and go around again and tie the ribbons on it unless somebody has something in particular. But good band conditions. There's still a little QRN from the storms up northwest of us, but everybody is armchair copy here on the RME 69. So, one more time around and we'll tie the ribbons. N4LQ, WA4LLR.
N4LQ, yeah, I was sitting here trying to surf around trying to figure out what was down, and everything I go to has got problems. I went to the one of the down detectors that's supposed to show you where the internet is down, and it was down. But I found one called Thousand Eyes, and it shows you areas where there's internet problems, and nothing major, like 102 outages over in Newark, New Jersey, and that's not very big outage. So I don't know what's going on. Now there's some servers down out on the west coast, but eBay and all that stuff seems to be working. So I don't know what's going on. We'll figure it out here one of these days. Well, it's been interesting and kind of lonely this morning. I hope we're going to have to come up with some kind of a promotional or something to get more people to check in with us. But hopefully things will get better. Good to talk to all of you, all three of you. And try to get in there tonight on 160 and get some company. 1864 is the frequency at 8 o'clock. So I'll say 73s and pass it to Cliff, WB4NKL, N4LQ.
N4LQ, it's WB4NKL. I was just clicking on different things that I use quite a bit, and they all seem to be working okay. So I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's already straightened itself out. Like I say, Dave, band's in good shape. That's not the problem. So I don't know where everybody's at. It's just one of those things. And next thing you know, we'll have a record number. 73s, and enjoyed it. And we will try to catch everybody there Thursday, I guess. W4MEC, WB4NKL.
Okay, Cliff, WB4NKL, WB4MEC. And the other thing I wanted to see was a story, apparently in Texas, or from Texas, I guess, but it says Google is going to require some kind of unique ID that goes right back to you for every search you ever make. I don't know if that was a headline story that doesn't make any sense or whether it's true or not, but when I clicked on that, it said server failure. So anyway, they're pushing for a digital ID for everybody, Google is, so I don't know how well that's going to go over. I don't know if a VPN will block that or not. They probably block your VPN. Anyway, just, the flip phone is coming back, and also landlines. I don't know if you read that. People going back to landlines and flip phones. So maybe there's maybe I'm ahead of the game here because I got a flip phone and a landline. So, and I do have I can dial out on my what do you call it, the U-verse. I have rotary phones plugged in, and I cannot dial out. They don't decode the clips, but they work just fine dialing in. The bell rings, everything works, but you just can't dial out. A regular touch-tone phone will dial out just fine, and but that's on the U-verse. So, and I had one of those phones, I think, like you're talking, Cliff, and it was working great. Had it down in the basement where the wash machine is. And one day, my wife picked that thing up. I picked that thing up, and I went to just dial a number. And as soon as I enter the first number, it dialed 911. I said, what? So I hung up, tried it again. It dialed 911 again. And I said, oh, man. And then the phone rang, and it was 911 saying, did you call 911? I said, yeah, my phone is going crazy. I don't know what's wrong with it. Sorry, And I had to get rid of that one. But that was a weird situation there with that AT&T phone that had something in there that was wanting to dial 911 all the time. So anyway, we'll see you fellas tonight, hopefully, if I'm here. Oh, wait a minute. It's nice Tuesday night. This is 6 meter night with Boone, if he gets his store running. If not, I'll try and get up here, get down here, rather, not up here, and carry on. So y'all have a good rest of the day, and we'll see you later. 7-3, thanks for running the miniature net there, Dave. WA4LLR in the group. W4MEC. Bye-bye.
Okay, Charlie, fine business. Well, we took our landline out a few years back. The only calls we got on it were telemarketers, scammers, and so on and so forth. Everybody most of the people that wanted to talk to us were calling our cell phones, and only the telemarketers used the landline. So we said goodbye to it. But I kind of miss those days. I've still got I've got at least one rotary wall phone that was working fine when I took it out. So anyway, alrighty. Well, fellas, enjoyed the mini net this morning. I'll say 7-3, God bless, and Lord willing, we'll try it again on Thursday. We'll see if anybody wakes up then. This is WA4LLR. Dave in Burnsville, closing this session of the Old Friends 7-3.